Hey everybody, welcome to Don't Copy That Floppy. I'm your host Lex.
And I'm your other host Dan. We are a weekly video game news podcast, your weekly video game news podcast, coming to you on Chipit Radio at chipit.net every Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. live. Where else can people find us, Lex?
Oh, a whole fist worth of social media, Dan, including Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Steam, and iTunes.
We should start saying each other's names after every single sentence back and forth. That's right, Lex. That's right, Dan.
Back to you, Dan.
That wouldn't get old really fast. Let's see. What do we got to talk about this week?
Yes, Dan, what do we have to talk about?
I don't know, Lex. Let's find out. That's awful.
It's really bad.
It's terrible.
Like, miserable.
We got to talk about Lionhead Studios. We talked about them a little bit recently.
Yeah, I remember us reporting on this when it was announced it was going to happen.
Then this news comes as no surprise, but we'll get to that. We got to talk about some esports drama. We got to talk about Blizzard drama. We got to talk about the survey, I guess. I don't know. We got to talk about Nintendo. We got to talk a lot about Nintendo.
Oh, so much.
There's a ton to talk about with Nintendo today. And then, some other stories about other games, a little bit of Hyperlight Drifter, a little bit of Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball 3, a little bit of everything.
We got some oatmeal cookies. We're trying oatmeal cookies today.
Some oatmeal cookies. We got Doom.
Oh, yeah, the Doom stuff.
And then we'll round it out by looking at upcoming releases and the games that have just come out. We usually do a little roundup like that at the end of the show. So let's get right into it by saying Lionhead Studios, developers of Fable, etc., have officially closed their doors as of today, the 29th of April.
Now, we knew that Microsoft was closing, and we reported on that, when was it, like a couple months ago, I feel like?
Wasn't that long ago? I can't remember.
It might have been. It was
like at least a month ago or so, yeah.
Now, we know that Molyneux left the company quite some time ago.
Yeah.
And the only game that they were working on was Fable Legends.
Yep.
It was only a shock to me at the time because Fable Legends seemed really far along in development.
Yes.
Like, we had seen significant amounts of
It was being
stuff.
beta. It had an open beta going on.
Yeah.
I guess a closed. I don't know if it was closed or open. It was a beta. People were playing it.
Yeah. And while I was not particularly excited about Fable Legends,
Who was?
apparently not enough people to keep the company open.
Yeah.
But just the fact that they put in all that time and effort, it would have made sense to me for them to just finish it and then close after, because then Microsoft could have potentially gotten a little more profit out of the IP before they closed it down.
It does seem strange, unless they projected it was going to be a huge loss for them or something at this point, and they were better off just washing their hands of it. Which is clearly the decision they made.
Yeah.
I wonder how Peter Molyneux feels.
Oh, he doesn't care.
I bet he doesn't care.
He's heartless.
He is heartless. You see, he had a quote last week when we talked about that jerk ass.
He did, yes.
There was a quote from Peter Molyneux, agreeing, basically, not agreeing to something that guy said, but saying something pretty much the same.
I think, because I didn't get a chance to talk about it, because that whole story, there was just so much to talk about in it.
Yeah,
it was
what's his
so
name? Alex St. John?
Yeah, Alex St. John sucks.
Yeah.
But
you're here first. Listen to last week's show, you'll find out.
Oh my god. But no, the Peter Molyneux quote, I believe, was something about how he was saying
crunch time when the game's close to release and you need to finish stuff.
Game devs work better and do their best work when they're under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, he said crunch time is a wonderful thing.
Yeah,
because it's really great. But what that really is just people desperate to keep their jobs and working long hours for no extra pay and being sad and not seeing their families.
Well, the big
the faster I finish this game, the sooner I can see my child.
The big difference is, I think, because I don't know the entire Peter Molyneux statement, but we know that what Alex St. John was saying in relation to that was devs shouldn't get paid for all the crazy overtime they do during that crunch time.
Right.
Whereas if it doesn't
I don't
necessarily
think Molyneux had any.
Molyneux wasn't necessarily saying that because he could. Yeah, I don't actually have a problem with someone saying.
And I think Molyneux's too detached from reality to even say something that mean.
No, he doesn't understand how people work or the concept of money.
Well, real life has a morality system. It's like Fable. That's how he sees it.
The way he tries to do it, he goes to a supermarket, and I imagine him trying to trade things for food because he doesn't know. doesn't know how it works.
Oh.
Can I just point out that it is really dark in your room?
It is. I should turn the light on.
Please, make Corinne do it.
I'll do it.
No.
I did it.
Oh, there's a light right there.
There's a light right there next to my computer.
I always forget that it's right there. I thought you were going to have to walk all the way to the door.
No, that's ridiculous. Why would I not have a light over here?
I mean, listen, I live in a house where there are lamps like that set up around the house. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. So I don't automatically assume, just because it's there, that it lights up.
So we can't spend this whole show talking about lamps and Alex St. John.
Are you sure?
We got a lot of stories.
I would really love to have a lamp chat. No. Next on the show, we're talking about esports. We got an esports story.
I like this one.
It's pretty ridiculous. So this is a story from I actually cited a Yahoo News article because they were one of the first people to break it, I think, when I was like looking at the timestamp on a bunch of the different stories. But this was from from April 23rd.
On Yahoo Esports.
Yahoo Esports.
How about that? That's a thing.
Oh, they have a specific esports reporting.
They do.
Yahoo, you're really weird.
Got sections for Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, Dota 2, Heroes of the Storm, League of Legends, and Street Fighter V for some reason.
It's a growing market.
I guess so.
But no, so this story is about how a team...
Team
YP was banned from by the ESL, the Esports League? That's just what it stands for? I think that is just what it stands for.
I'm assuming.
It's a little too straightforward.
And they were banned because their team is sponsored by, you guessed it, YouPorn.
You probably didn't guess it. You probably heard it was Team YP.
Team YP.
You're like, what could that possibly stand for?
Team Young People.
Team Young People. I like the idea of a bunch of, like, crotchety old men as the people running the esports league being like, no young people.
Young people.
No young people playing video games.
Team Youth Proactivity. That's wholesome.
So much more wholesome.
But no, Team YouPorn. Which had, they had the class to just call themselves Team YP. That's nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're being banned from participating in any future esports events.
And why are they being banned, Daniel?
Because they're sponsored by YouPorn?
Yeah, that's it.
Is that it?
That's the reason.
There's no other reason, right?
No other reason.
Missing? Yeah, okay.
I think that... Because I originally saw the story and I was like, oh, but why are they being banned? Oh, well, I guess that's just the reason.
Yeah, like, it's pretty much... The team has made an effort to distance themselves from their parent company and present themselves as work safe. For instance, their website has no direct references to the porn site that, like, sponsors them. It's odd. What else sponsors these teams? Is there anyone else who's like objectionable who sponsors these teams?
There is. I'm going to get to it. It's near the bottom of the article, and it is the reason why the story goes from being like kind of funny to really obnoxious. Mm-hmm. So they were sent an email saying they couldn't do it, and in this email, it talked about why they couldn't, and one of the reasons was no drugs, no alcohol, and no pornography. None of those people can sponsor or be associated with esports because, we want to keep it kid-friendly. Yeah. Here's the thing, though. There's another league, or not a league, but another team, and guess who sponsors them?
People who make cigarettes and beer.
Well, not cigarettes, but Bud Light sponsors the team.
Bud Light sponsors the team.
Yes, they do.
Now, while I will concede that Bud Light barely qualifies as alcohol.
Barely.
The hypocrisy on display here is palpable, to say the least.
And then I've read a little about it elsewhere about how Bud Light is they donate and sponsor events as well as teams. So the league is actually getting significant amounts of money from them for other things.
I see.
Which is probably the reason why they're not saying anything to them. So YouPorn just hasn't greased the right palms or lubed the right palms.
I don't know how they operate down in YouPorn, but assumptions can be made.
Yeah. But no. So it's just sort of annoying That they were like, you guys are banned. You guys are banned for doing this thing. And then someone's like, oh, but there are other teams that do this.
Team. It's a professional team.
Now,
of players who now don't have a career. Because they can't play.
They'll have to try to
get on another team or form another team.
They do. Apparently, they do pretty well. They don't usually come out on top, but they're like a good middle of the road. Oh, I see what you're saying. There's so many good jokes to be made with this.
They're not always on top, but they're not always on the bottom either.
They switch it up.
Kind of just nuzzle in there. Team YP is not opposed to some gentle spooning with the other teams. They'll be big or little spoon, depending on, what everybody else wants. Nice guys.
But yeah, it's just a huge bummer.
It is. I feel bad for these guys. It's not their fault that their team's sponsored by a porn site.
One of the things...
And why is that even so wrong?
I don't...
It's perfectly legal. It's not even sketchy. It's just a regular porn website. It's not like some freaky-deaky weirdo porn website. I'm trying to think of a good example, but I don't know what to say.
There's fetish stuff on there, but it's not the majority of their content.
No, it's not like it's like a site dedicated to something weird.
And let's not forget, YouPorn is where Big Butt Man in the United States' audience was posted.
Yeah!
The Fallout leaked footage.
How can anybody deny that YouPorn is intrinsically linked to the video gaming community? They'll be the first to release stuff for VR. They're probably working on it already.
They probably are.
Bless them. Those wonderful heroes of the internet. Next up, we have another story about people who want to do a thing not being allowed to do the thing. And that is something we talked about recently, which was Blizzard's takedown of the World of Warcraft vanilla private server, Nostalrius. That had a ton of players on it playing... it's a private server, but it was just playing the vanilla version of World of Warcraft.
There was no money exchanging hands here, although people may have been able to donate to those who ran it, I'm not sure.
I don't think they were taking donations. I think I read that they didn't.
But yeah, they certainly weren't charging for anything.
Yes. So, this was taken down. There was a big uproar, because a lot of people were like, Blizzard, why are you doing this?
JonTron was not happy.
JonTron was not happy and posted a good little clip from BlizzCon panel, where the people at Blizzard were just jerks.
Yeah, where an audience member said, hey...
Can we play a classic server?
Yeah, could you guys make a legacy server? And they said, no, you think you want that, but you don't, because you're a fool.
You're a fool!
Children, go back and play your games.
Play your game, let us peddle our wares to you. You don't know any better, you don't know what you want, we're gonna give you expansion after expansion, you're gonna eat it up like the dog you are. Quoted.
That's a direct quote.
So, Blizzard has responded to all of this outrage now. This is an article from April 26th on Polygon, where Blizzard has said, World of Warcraft executive producer J. Allen Brack wrote on the official forums that Blizzard has been closely following the Nostalrius discussion. And I quote, "Our silence on this subject definitely doesn't reflect our level of engagement and passion around this topic. We hear you. Many of us across Blizzard and the WoW dev team have been passionate players ever since Classic WoW. In fact, I personally work at Blizzard because of my love for Classic WoW. We've been discussing Classic servers for years. It's a topic at every BlizzCon, especially over the past 3 weeks."
I mean, they've certainly been discussing it because the fans keep bringing it up and they keep saying no.
Shut up. This is like the most damage control post.
Oh, yeah.
Possible.
This is
them backpedaling and realizing, like, oh god, we messed up. And then saying, like, don't worry, everyone, we've totally been thinking about it.
I'm curious.
We're gonna do it.
I'm curious how much we owe to JonTron for this. Because, as we know,
a lot of other people
other people who were important certainly spoke out about this, too.
You and I are just on the JonTron channel.
Yeah.
Of things.
Yeah.
We both get those. That's our internet.
But I think that when you have people who are very well-liked and very widely followed on things like on social media.
Pretty articulate.
And they speak out about stuff like this, it really draws a lot of attention to it.
Yeah, definitely.
So they're talking about it.
They're talking about it, apparently.
But they're not saying they're actually going to do it.
Yeah. They're
just like, no, but we have been discussing legacy servers, though. Please stop talking about this so that we can, forget about it.
Yeah.
And we don't have to keep discussing it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's the subtext of this.
They've also, the way that they're talking about it is that to recapture the nostalgia of when WoW first launched, they have talked about a pristine realm, which in essence would turn off all leveling acceleration, character transfers, heirloom gear, character boosts, recruiter friend stuff, WoW tokens, access to cross-realm zones, blah, 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 and group finder. So, it's sort of a vanilla server, but not really a vanilla server. So a lot of people are like, oh, it's cool that they're addressing it, and then other people are like, their whole idea still isn't good enough. We want the original game. So, this has not, obviously, fixed the problem. Yeah. It's Blizzard doing damage control. We'll see if anything comes from it, I guess, but...
Okay.
Hopeful.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
How
is your audio monitoring right now?
It's not great because my headphones are actually not picking anything up at the moment.
Mine aren't either.
I'm wondering if it's...
How are our audio levels looking?
My computer settings. Our audio levels are totally fine.
Oh, it's still on your speakers.
Is that what it is?
Coming out your speakers, yeah.
Oh, that's weird. I don't know why it's doing that.
I love PCs.
They're great.
Well...
I don't know. I don't think I can fix this without quitting out of our broadcasting program.
Well, we know our levels are fine, so it's probably okay.
It's probably okay. We'll talk about this one later. Did you know that there was a new survey that came out today about average American gamers? Did you know this?
Who conducted this survey?
Was it the Entertainment Software Association published their annual report?
Stuffy old people that know nothing about children?
On the essential facts about gaming habits in America. Hey, games aren't for children anymore.
This is true.
Games are for big, strong, grown men like us.
That reminds me, one of the things I keep meaning to talk about on this show, you guys don't realize it, but Dan has killer abs, okay? This is important.
It's because I'm so skinny, you can see them.
Listen, I've punched Dan in the stomach many times as a youth, and it wasn't even
too powerful. You great cheese on them. They surveyed 4,000 households. So how could this possibly not be an accurate picture?
Wait, how many?
4,000.
That's not a large sample size.
That's not a very large sample size.
I mean, considering how many people play video games,
yeah,
it's really weird. Not a very large sample size.
63% of these people, these households, included at least one frequent gamer.
What did they qualify as frequent? Did it say that?
I don't think so.
Oh.
They play too many video games.
Okay.
65% own a video game playing device. So they at least have an N-Gage laying around.
Or a Vita or something.
Yeah. Well, 48% own a dedicated game console. So they're counting smartphones here, clearly.
So like something running Windows 95,
yeah,
family computer.
Like Mission to Mars.
Or like the, I think I have Jeopardy.
Runner.
I have Jeopardy on floppy disk, for my Windows 95.
Ski Free. Love Ski Free.
Oh man, I forgot about Ski Free.
The Yeti.
Dude, he always gets
you.
How
do you forget?
He always gets you.
47% of gamers are between 18 and 49 years old. The average guy is 35. The average woman is 44.
What? That's really interesting.
It's weird.
I mean, I still think since their sample size is too small, there's not a whole lot we can trust from these numbers, but that's still interesting data.
Yeah. 59% of the regular gamers are men, and 41% are women.
Okay.
The average gamer has been playing video games now for 13 years. It's gotten to be a pretty big number.
Yeah.
There's some other stuff about buying habits and how people are spending their time, whether they're playing PC. The most frequently played gaming device is the PC, Master Race, which is 56% of respondents, followed by consoles and then smartphones. Smartphones are still the lowest, which is interesting. And there's an esports thing, too.
Oh, they asked about esports.
Half of these people are familiar with esports. 45% of those who follow esports do so through social media. 55% of frequent gamers are aware of virtual reality headsets. and 40% claimed they were likely to purchase a VR system within the next 12 months.
Oh.
And people spend a whole lot of money on video games. $23.5 billion on the gaming industry in 2015.
Whoa.
And 16.5 was spent on gaming content alone, which I'm assuming means, like, the games?
Gaming content is probably DLC. Hat Simulator.
Oh, yeah. You're probably right. Season passes.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, nothing.
Like,
non-physical items.
Listen, earlier today, I spent money on cosmetic stuff within a game.
Oh, no!
It was foolish, but I had to do it. I'm trying to get back into, I'm trying to get back into, Marvel Heroes, the MMO, which still isn't good, but it's a Diablo clone, and I love Diablo so much that I can't not enjoy it. Also, you can play as Magneto in it. So the thing that I spent was, I was like, you don't start with Magneto's classic costume. The class is so good.
Yeah.
Even that purple red.
Yeah.
I need it. So,
good stuff.
Spent $3 on that. Maybe $4. But
now we're going to get into a long chain of Nintendo news.
Oh, no.
There's a lot of Nintendo news.
Reggie, why?
Oodles of Nintendo news. We're going to start with Pokemon Go, of which there was some leaked footage, which has now been taken down off YouTube due to a copyright claim by Darkathion, who I'm going to assume is the evil sorcerer who actually runs Nintendo. And that they have just revealed that to us by mistake through this copyright claim.
Can you write down that name for the other project we're working on?
Darkathion? Yeah, absolutely.
Just to make definite.
Just jot. But no,
this is funny because I watched this footage before I came here for the show.
And now, it's going.
So it was taken. It was either I was watching. No, I loaded the page fresh when I did that.
Darkathion got it.
Darkathion got it within the last hour.
He was scrying on you.
His foul necromancy was too powerful.
The true face of Nintendo. You heard it here first. Wait for E3 when he reveals the NX.
But no, okay, so it was about 9 minutes of gameplay footage.
Yep.
And it was just
character customization, walking down the road.
Yep.
Getting a Pokemon.
Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention, but it looked like one of the things that was happening in there was you would visit certain locations, and then it would be like, you got to this location, there's a giveaway here, and then you'd get like a couple of Pokeballs or like some random other items just for like going there. And it was funny because it would be like, at this location, and then you'd see like the Pokeball like icon, and then the center of it would like spin around, and it would just be a picture of that real world location in the center of it. And it looked so goofy because it'd be like, library, like just the front of the library within this Pokeball, and I'm like, this looks pretty funny.
It's weird, yeah. You also, they said some stuff about how the game is really, seems like you're gonna have to be walking around and being active to do it.
Yeah.
For instance, you can get Pokemon eggs, and the way they hatch is not just by sitting around, like, you actually have to be moving and active to get events to occur, and things like that. And you're going to need to go places to catch the Pokemon.
Definitely. I mean, I saw they showed the footage of the Pokemon actually being in the wild, where you hold up your phone and it overlays them over real images.
Which is cool.
And the collision detection type stuff is still a little off.
I'm sure they'll polish it up.
But yeah, because we know this is beta, so I'm hoping that it'll look a little better at the end. It showed that you like, when you join, or when you make your character, you join a team. And this was info that I think we reported on earlier, because it was talked about, where you join a team, and then it's like, when you, like, level up, or get Pokemon, or like, accumulate any kind of points in any way, that all sort of goes toward your team's ability to, like, win and have dominance within your area.
Right.
Yeah.
Seems neat.
It's cool, yeah. I mean, it's pretty much what I expected, and it looks like it's all working, and it has all the features that I want it to have.
So, there you go.
It's looking good.
I would assume it's going to be another, like, free-to-start type thing.
Oh, yeah, and you have to pay for, like, Pokeballs, or...
Yeah. I'm going to guess that's what it's
or, like, alternate Pikachu costumes, like all the different Party Hat Pikachus from Super Smash. I want those, and they're so bad.
Yes. Pikachu. Speaking of Nintendo's mobile stuff, which, by the way, Miitomo came out in the States now. Their weird mobile app.
That happened this week.
Corinne has it. I haven't downloaded it yet, but I don't know. It seems neat, I guess.
Yeah?
It's kind of weird. You kind of just ask each other questions, and there's a weird text-to-speech thing. So it kind of goes hey, what are you doing? It's bizarre.
That's strange.
It's very strange. And it's just you get clothes for yourself, and you customize a little room. It's just a social game.
So it's like Animal Crossing, but less interesting.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
So they are going to be releasing mobile apps based on Fire Emblem and Animal Crossing. Speaking of the devil. They confirmed this on the 27th of April. I'm getting this off a Polygon article. Both of these are targeted for release sometime in the fall. Fire Emblem for mobile devices will be more accessible in comparison to the Fire Emblem games on the dedicated systems. But it still seems like it's going to be a role-playing strategy game. So that's interesting. The mobile Animal Crossing will connect to at least one of the Animal Crossing games for Nintendo's other systems, though they did not specify which titles. The most recent games would be Amiibo Festival and Happy Home Designer. Let's hope they can interface with more than just those two, because those two are stupid. Nintendo describes Fire Emblem and Animal Crossing titles as pure game applications. So, unlike Miitomo, which is kind of a social thing, these are going to be games.
Yeah.
More so than Miitomo is.
But they're also sort of going to tie into the existing games on the console.
Yes. Which is probably a trend we'll continue to see with these.
Yeah, so people have speculated that this whole strategy is Nintendo trying to appeal to a wider audience by going hey, people who have smartphones, check out this cool kind of game. You want to play something like this, but more involved and more to it, we'll just buy our console.
You know you want it. Go get it. So says Darkathion. A little snippet of news before we get into the real big story is that Xenoblade Chronicles, which came out on the 3DS when the new 3DS released last year, is going to be coming to the Wii U Virtual Console.
Oh.
Which is really cool news, because that game looks super good in actual HD. And now you can play it in actual HD.
Excellent.
Without having to put an emulator on your computer and do it that way, like a lot of people did. So that's really cool. So if you still have not checked out Xenoblade Chronicles, do it. It's a really good JRPG. Get it on your Wii U that you probably don't have.
You fool, what are you waiting for?
Do it. Buy a Wii U. Just buy one. They're not even expensive anymore. Just get it. There's good games on it.
At this point, yes.
There's some good games. You'll be able to get Zelda, which is what we're talking about next.
Turns out, Zelda is now officially delayed, whereas it was originally supposed to come out in 2015. I don't think that happened. I'm pretty sure it didn't come out last year, so...
I thought I saw it on a shelf once, but it was just a cat. It's a new legend. Oh no, it's just a cat.
So, we have a perfect soundboard for this, but our audio monitoring isn't working.
Yeah, we're not going to worry about that.
But no, so it obviously was mega delayed, but Nintendo just didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And they just didn't talk about it for the longest time. And
so they didn't.
And this week, they finally announced that it was delayed.
To 2017.
To 2017.
They announced this past Wednesday.
And this is, normally we would get a story like this and we'd be like, well, okay, moving on. But it ties into...
a bunch of other stuff.
Not a lot of other stuff.
Which makes it way more interesting.
And basically confirms a rumor that had been in circulation about Zelda, which was that they were going to try and hold off Zelda so that it could release when the next Nintendo console released.
Yes. And we were thinking they were going to do a dual release a la Twilight Princess. Mm-hmm. And that seems to be the case.
Yeah.
They're planning a 2017 release for both the NX and the Wii U of the next Legend of Zelda game. So that's cool. Speaking of, the E3 coming up is going to be nothing but the new Zelda game.
All about Link.
From Nintendo. It's all about Zelda. This means they're obviously going to be announcing more specific details about the NX, I would say. I'd be shocked if they weren't. If this is going to be like the focus of their E3 show.
Yeah.
Because we got to know what kind of weird NX functionality the new Zelda game's going to have.
Oh yeah.
Why is it special? Which means we got to know what the NX can do. So that'll be fascinating. I'm really excited to see what it is, but I'm wary at the same time, I guess. It's like, what are we getting?
Well, it's one of these things.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's one of those things where one of the things that was sort of announced when they were first starting to talk about the technology was Nintendo were like, oh my gosh, third-party developers are going to love this console. They're going to love it. It can run Unreal Engine. It's going to be great. Everybody's going to develop for it. We're going to be on top again. And then everything's come out in terms of like leaked and rumor stuff since then about how the console actually works.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's going to be a nightmare for developers because they're going to have to make games that can play at like very limited settings for like certain times you're using the console, and then other times it's like really amped up.
Yeah.
And there's all this weird like networking stuff that the console may do that it's all really cool, but it sounds, like a nightmare if you're a third-party developer.
Are we going to get any third-party titles that have any sort of interesting functionality with all of this tech? That's the question.
Yeah.
Because that's like the Wii U. You do all this cool stuff, but like no developers took advantage of it because it's too much work. There's like 3 or 4 games that actually make good use of the gamepad, and most of them, if not all of them, are first-party titles.
Yeah.
It's like Star Fox makes good use of it. It's a first-party Nintendo title, so obviously it does. Like,
Platinum made a great effort with
Wonderful 101.
Wonderful
Oh
101.
yeah, big time. Gamepad's great in that game.
But I can't think of another company outside of Nintendo that.
But Platinum developed that game as a first-party Nintendo title as well.
So they were working with Nintendo.
Published and funded that game. So yeah. I mean, still props to Platinum for doing such a good job with it. So yes, this E3 is going to be focused on Zelda and the NX, to the point that Zelda is going to be the only playable game at Nintendo's E3 show. And they said that they want to do that to provide attendees a complete immersion. Whatever that means.
You know what this is going to be like? Last year's E3, remember how everyone was like, check out our virtual reality product. And
check out our Zelda product.
Well, it was like, Microsoft, what were they talking about? The HoloLens? And they had that big press conference, or that big stage show, where they showed the Minecraft thing.
That everyone found out afterwards was like totally fake.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Nintendo doing something like that, to be like, look at all the cool things the NX can do, and then hopefully we won't find out that it's fake afterwards.
They should bring back the Star Fox puppets.
They really should.
Just cuz.
They were great.
They were terrific.
And Star Fox actually came out.
It did.
So it makes sense.
I don't like it.
I just have more puppets.
All the reception of Star Fox is still super mixed. We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
But it hasn't really changed.
That learning curve, so steep.
So steep. Harder than Dark Souls.
Harder than Dark Souls.
It's not true. Nameless King's kicking my ass. If you beat Nameless King in Dark Souls 3, please help. I need help.
I keep seeing Dark Souls memes that other people I know who play it on Facebook keep posting, and they're all just like, how to beat Dark Souls, get good.
That's how you do it.
That's it.
That's the only way. I haven't getted good enough.
The shortest Prima strategy guide ever.
Get good.
Get good.
How do I beat this boss? Get good. Oh no. It's one of those rare games where that's the answer.
Yeah.
You just gotta get good. You gotta figure it out.
Gotta have good reflexes.
You gotta figure out a strategy that works.
Yeah.
Gotta think about it. Don't be a dum-dum. I've been co-oping with people in that game. All dum-dums.
Every one of them.
Everyone's a dum-dum. The last guy I co-opted with today was not a dum-dum, but only him.
But only him.
There's that moment when you're playing online with 3 other people and the boss is charging up a giant lightning bolt on his sword. He's standing there like, I'm gonna do a thing with this. And everyone but me just goes, okay, and runs over to him. And they all died at once.
Well, obviously.
Why? Do you just not pay any attention?
How did you get this far in this game?
How did you get this far? Clearly hiring or summoning help isn't helping you. But anyway, what do we know about the NX so far?
Oh, well,
nothing.
We've reported on all these rumors before. It's going to have a controller that has a weird, the entire controller is a touchpad, except for two little joysticks.
Is that true, though?
It seems like it might be true.
But there's all the leaked images that were fake.
Those were fake. So there's a lot of leaked stuff that was fake, but those were all fakes that were based off of patents that Nintendo did file.
Yeah.
For a game controller that has a full, Surface touchpad screen thing.
Yeah.
So my guess is the controller probably will be something like that.
I guess.
Otherwise, there's all these weird rumors about how the gamepad controller can be used separately from the console, like a mobile device.
Yeah, like a handheld.
Yeah, but then you connect it to the console, and it can give the console a little more juice to play games a little better. Also, there's these weird rumors about how, the console, when you connect to a network, if there are other people that are also online with their NXs, you guys can, band together your processing power, and then everyone runs faster. That stuff is way sketchier, and I'm not really sure if that's gonna be a thing, but there were patents filed sort of to that effect.
Yeah. An interesting thing of note in this article about the NX is that they say the Zelda game will be released in a Wii U version and an NX port.
Oh.
So the NX version of Zelda is going to be the port, which some people might be curious to know. The game was developed on the Wii U. That's interesting. Do you think this is going to have a different name? NX, I'm assuming, is just the working title.
It's probably going to have a different name.
What do you think it'll be called?
Something stupid.
I hope it's called the Wii Wii.
Probably.
Or the Pee Wee.
Oh no.
Or the See Wee Me. I don't know.
It's done. You're done. We're moving on. We're going to the next story. Just stop. Don't look at me like that. Move to the next story.
I'm trying to think of more.
No.
How about that Doom?
Oh my gosh, so this week, on April 27th...
There's an hour of Doom single-player footage.
And
the new Bethesda Doom game. It's very violent.
Well, yeah.
It's very inappropriate for children.
It's Doom, yeah. But what was cool about this was it has audio commentary by the guys who are playing it, who are the guys who made it.
Yes.
And as they're going through, they're like, "Oh, and there's this feature, and let me show you how this works and explain it to you." So it's not just gameplay, but it's a lot of... Oh, it blew himself up.
He clipped right through that wall.
Oh no, beta. But no, it looks really pretty.
It does. It looks good.
There's also a lot of features that deal with enemies lighting up, which is super interesting to me. Where when you hit an enemy a certain number of times, you can stagger them, and they light up a certain color.
You know, execution moves?
Yeah, I think it's they light up green or something, and then as you get closer to them, when you get within range to do the execution move, their hue sort of changes color.
It's a cool idea.
And who talked about it? Rock, Paper, Shotgun had a little thing about this from yesterday, where they talked about all the different parts of it. And they talked about how the glows, they found them, from what their takeaway from it was that they were really interesting and probably really useful in gameplay. But they also were quick to note that, hey, if you're not into playing it like this, and you just want to, get the timing down and what have you, you can turn that off.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. Because I was going to say that, unfortunately, to me, the glows kind of take me out of it.
Yeah.
Looking at the gameplay.
And I think for someone like you who loves Dark Souls, who loves to get good.
I gotta get good at it.
You just need to know that timing, because that's how you play games. And that's fine.
Yeah.
I think that's probably how I'd end up doing it as well, because I now have an appreciation for those kind of games now that I've gotten really into Hyper Light Drifter.
Hyper Light Drifter converted you, man.
Oh man, I just beat the
Hyper Light Drifter made you get good.
I had to get good at it, and I did.
And you did, and then isn't it amazingly satisfying when you finally get good?
Yeah.
It's the best feeling ever.
If only I could do that in Dark Souls. But I can't.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday I'll graduate to getting good.
You'll get the goodest.
I'll grow up and be a real boy and get good. But no, so So you can do that. There's actually a lot of different just settings that you can manipulate. They give a screenshot on the Rock Paper Shotgun article of just a bunch of the different things you can...
heads-up display things and interface things. I love when games give you a lot of freedom to customize your interface. I think that's great. Wonderful.
Yeah.
It's like the best.
Also, there is, apparently they talk a little bit about game modes, including one that is, I'm trying to find the name here.
Is it for multiplayer game modes?
No, for single-player game modes. Because this whole thing was about single-player.
Okay.
I
mean, obviously you can tell I haven't watched the whole hour-long video.
the Ultra Nightmare mode, I think it's called Ultra Nightmare mode.
Ultra Nightmare mode.
Yeah. So it's an Iron Man mode.
So it's also, if you die, you're dead.
If you die, you're dead. There's no saving.
That's awesome.
And it's the highest difficulty.
For a crazy fast-paced shooter like this, that's super cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
That sounds great.
Yeah. And I like that they've kept the pace pretty brisk. Because, like, the old Doom was, like, you moved fast.
Yeah.
And you still do. It's still not quite that speed.
Well, one of the things that everyone has hated on about this game is they have had the multiplayer beta.
Yeah.
And people have been unhappy with the multiplayer beta. Mostly they've just been saying that it plays too much like a modern game, that it's not fast enough.
Doesn't have the arcadey run and gun feel that they want it to have.
Yeah. So that's been, a bummer. But it seems like, from what we're seeing of the single player, they got it down.
It seems pretty good.
So
it's not as fast as the original game, but it still seems pretty good.
Yeah.
You got a health bar. That's what I want to see. All this regenerating crap.
I know, right? Get that Halo out of here.
I need med kits.
It's important.
If your game doesn't have a med kit, get it out of my face.
So, yeah, I think after a less than exciting multiplayer beta, we are starting to get excited about this game again.
Indeed.
Man, it's really pretty. Like,
it's
we're
nice
just watching it now. It's just really... The environments, especially, like...
The
monsters also
nice.
Look good, but I think the textures and the lighting for the environments just look
quite good. Yeah. The animations for the enemies are really good too.
Oh yeah, so they glow blue when they're stunned, and then they glow orange when you are within range to do a kill move.
Yeah,
that's
and the effects of the monsters' body parts exploding and stuff is very, very cool.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like they have like dynamic dismemberment essentially.
Important.
Which is really cool. It looks great. So let's go to the most logical thing to talk about after we talk about Doom, which is Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball.
Obviously.
As you may or may not know, I know we talked about it, DOA Extreme 3 has not been released officially outside of Asia.
As I recall, Mr. Oatmeal Cookie himself was talking about it, and he was saying, like, people outside of Asia, they're just so sensitive about stuff like this. I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
And that was, like, his rationale for not releasing his extremely sexist game outside of Asia.
How dare you call Itagaki's game sexist?
How dare I?
How dare you?
There's nothing sexist about this game.
There's also nothing sexist about Tomonobu Itagaki. He's a very nice, well-reasoned, kind man who believes in equality. He's an asshole. This game, however, in spite of that, has sold very well outside of Japan.
Wait, but it wasn't released outside of Japan.
Go figure, right?
Is this all that Amazon Japan?
Japan and Play Asia?
Yeah.
The website that went on Twitter and was like, hey, you guys can buy it from us. Where they announced you would be able to buy it. So, it's sales numbers for recent titles, including this. Dead or Alive 5 sold the highest. Blah, 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 blah. Extreme 3 is at 190,000 sales outside of Asia.
That's pretty good for something that wasn't released outside of Asia.
It's pretty good for something. It's not even last on the list. It's ahead of Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8. And Atelier Sophie, Alchemist of the Mysterious Book.
Ooh.
And the Vita exclusive Kimiro no Korda 4. Which was only released in Japan and only moved 30,000 units.
Vita means life. you guys.
Vita means life.
Don't forget.
Atelier Sophie, Attack on Titan, which was the top-selling one at 280,000, because everybody loves Attack on Titan. And Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8 are all expected to come to North America and Europe this year, but DOA Extreme 3 was not planned for Western worlds.
Still,
go figure.
Still made so much.
I just thought that was interesting, because you don't often see a case of a game that's not released in a certain territory still selling really well in that territory.
You know why? Because everybody loves pornography.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
It's a game with cute girls.
Mm-hmm.
And they got their boobs everywhere.
There's really advanced jiggle physics.
Super advanced jiggle physics. And okay, I've heard other people say this, and it never doesn't sound creepy, but it's worth mentioning that the graphics tech that they've made in that game for the skin texturing is, like, amazing. And it's creepy to say. It's like, ooh, the skin in that game sure looks good.
Well,
but it does.
They know what the bread and butter of this game is.
But it's like, can we get that in other games? Because it looks really good.
No, because the other games are like, wow, we could spend time on that, or we could spend time on, like, the gameplay.
I want nice skin in my games. Said the least serial killery person in the room. Interesting little tidbit about No Man's Sky, which is coming out very soon.
Yeah.
Less than 2 months away. It's exciting. There was actually a 20-minute video where IGN sat down with the with Mr. What's his name? I can't remember his name.
Is it Murray?
Yeah, Sean Murray.
Yeah.
And he just showed them stuff because it was basically like, people want to know what you actually do in this game.
And he was like, oh, yeah, I know I didn't tell you before, but here, let me tell you.
Let me tell you. Yeah, so he sat down with them for 20 minutes and showed more specifically a lot of things that are going on. It was really cool. So if you, like me, were kind of wondering that, go check that video out. It's on IGN. Sometimes they do good things.
Sometimes, every once in a while.
And the game's coming out soon. And apparently, since there's going to be story in it, there's going to be lore in the universe that you can discover and experience. There's going to be characters you can interact with all these alien races. Studio founder Sean Murray said that the game will not have a traditional linear story filled with huge cutscenes, but it'll have all this other stuff to give it like flavor and distinction and for you to discover and talk about. And to flesh out No Man's Sky and its 18 quintillion planets, they worked with Dave Gibbons, co-creator of DC's Watchmen, as well as James Swallow, who worked on Star Trek, Deus Ex, and Warhammer 40k. Huh. That's pretty cool.
That's an interesting team.
Yeah. It is.
I
wonder how this feels for Murray as well, because this game started as like a little indie thing that was then picked up by Sony. He never would have been able to work with these people on this kind of thing had that not happened. So he must be on cloud 9. Like, I get to work with a Star Trek writer.
He got to be on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
He did.
Yeah,
and on Conan.
Conan's gonna do a Clueless Gamer for No Man's Sky. I hope
he will. He'll hate it.
He better.
He'll hate it.
He's gonna get so lost in the
cosmos.
Hate it.
He can't have sex with a hot lady on a unicorn. Why would he like it?
He'll see all these alien chicks and he'll be like, "Can I do them?" And then Sean Murray will be like, "No, Conan, you can't.
You need to learn their language first." Conan knows the only language that matters.
Exactly.
It's love, the language of love.
Yeah, in case you didn't get that. That's joke.
Yeah. Yep. Developer Supergiant Games has shown the first 20 minutes of their new title, Pyre. And it looks really cool. It looks like super cool, like everything else that they put out.
Yeah. Oh, that art, so good.
It's really cool. They do like totally like different, interesting art styles in all their games, and it's wonderful. And this one is a party-based like strategy RPG, as opposed to the top-down kind of action RPG feel of Bastion and Transistor. Mm-hmm. So that'll be really interesting. And it's got like elements of it it's like a tournament or something. It's interesting. And it still uses their same kind of like semi-isometric view. But it looks like they've gotten like a pseudo real-time strategy combat system worked out. That seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. And look at those particle effects. Wowee.
Oh my god.
Looks so nice.
Beauty.
Looks so nice.
True beauty.
Love What?
True beauty.
Is that from something?
No.
Okay. It's just the way you said it made it sound like it was a quote. It sounded like something a character from like Golden Axe would say or something. Or Gauntlet. True beauty. Dwarf needs food badly.
Oh, Gauntlet.
You are greedy. Anyway, Hyperlight Drifter, speaking of, talked about it a little bit, is getting a co-op mode.
Oh my
co-op
goodness!
Mode for Hyperlight Drifter is currently in beta.
I didn't know about this.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we had to play together and then we can both get good.
It's a feature the studio cut a long time ago. It was months before they shipped due to time constraints it was cut, but they went back to it because it's super fun and worthwhile to take the time to complete it, said Alex Preston, the game's creator. And I'm sure the game has sold quite well for them, so they can afford to go back and modify it.
DLC that makes sense.
DLC that makes a lot of sense and is really neat. So that's good news for anybody who likes Hyperlight Drifter, which should be like everyone who tries playing it. That's really cool. You know what Mass Effect has always needed?
Its own theme park ride.
A really great theme park ride.
I know that's what you were thinking, audience members.
Mass Effect New Earth 4D is a theme park attraction based on BioWare's Space Epic.
So does that mean this attraction will function through time as well as space?
Yes, it does. So, it's opening in California's Great America, in Santa Clara, which I guess is a theme park in California. You wear 3D glasses. Why not 4D glasses? What happened to the 4D?
I know. This is false advertising.
Seriously. There's a live performer and more to create a truly compelling and immersive attraction. You will travel through space to a distant planet, face off against bigger-than-life adversaries, and ultimately help save the day.
Wow. Wowie.
It opens May 18th. And yeah, Mass Effect Andromeda is coming out. I hope that this whole thing ends with the audience having to choose blue, orange, or green.
Yes.
And then everyone leaves, and then nothing happens, so everyone leaves very disappointed. And it's the most accurate Mass Effect experience ever.
Yeah, they were like, wow, this ride was amazing until the end.
The last half hour really lost me. What was up with that ghost kid? Why did the still frame for the epilogue have a man standing next to a really tiny man? Did they just run out of time?
You know what that ghost
They already had a child model in the game.
It's true. You just talked to it before
There's
at
no
the end
excuse.
of the game. There was
What the hell, BioWare?
I forgot about that.
You probably did more work scaling down the other model.
No, but it took me forever to realize it. But what the ghost child at the end of Mass Effect reminds me of is the ghost child from Final Fantasy X.
The Faith kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's totally
but the ghost child from Final Fantasy X's at least, like, there through the whole game.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
And he, like, does something. But yeah, totally. It's the same kind of vibe. Because he shows up and he talks to you about, like, weird existential stuff. And he's spooky and mysterious.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts is hitting the road for a concert world tour.
Because why bother making their next game when they could do other random things?
You know, to be fair, the music in these games is probably, like, the thing that's still been the most consistently good.
It is really good.
These games have great soundtracks.
Oh, yeah.
So,
but yeah, they're going to Tokyo, big surprise there.
Paris, France.
Yeah, Singapore,
London, England, for all of our UK listeners.
Oh.
How about that?
Shanghai, Los Angeles, and New York.
New York.
Both coasts of America.
It's going to be from March 10th through June 24th. The dates are, like, smattered throughout there. Dates go on pre-sale at 12 p.m. They went on pre-sale at 12 p.m. today. 12 p.m. local time. I guess, yeah.
They got no love for Africa or South America in there.
Nope.
It's a bummer.
No Australia either.
People in Brazil love Kingdom Hearts 2, okay?
That's true.
They do.
It's 100% absolutely true.
I've seen it.
Suda51 developer of No More Heroes, Killer is Dead, Killer 7, and other weird video games.
Oh, that's what that company is called.
No, that's the guy's name.
Oh. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
It's a Japanese man named Suda51 who makes video games.
You know, that actually, having played Killer 7...
makes
totally
a lot more sense. Yeah.
Yep.
It seems like a game made by a guy named Suda51.
Yep.
It's a pun on his actual name, I believe. I can't remember what his real name is. But, it's one of those artiste titles. He's working on a game called Let It Die, which was announced last year's E3 or the E3 before that. It was a while ago with a very cryptic, weird trailer. Apparently the game was shown off more at PAX this last week in Boston, and there was like some hands-ons done with it and everything. The game includes a skateboarding Grim Reaper in the logo, and also a shrugging Grim Reaper who says, "Surprise, you are dead," when you are surprised dead in the game. It's definitely wacky. And the person doing the interview with him asked him, asserted that Suda51 has gotten a bit more serious as time has gone on, because Killer is Dead was not quite as, like, weirdo, out there, wacky as some of his other games. It was still pretty weirdo, out there, wacky.
Yeah.
But not quite as, like, Killer 7 and stuff, because Killer 7's, like, it's weird. It's like a David Lynch, Quentin Tarantino fever dream. Like, it's bizarre. He said he felt that game was very safe and conventional in a lot of ways, relative to Suda's, like, typical body of work in the industry. But Suda responded with shock, and a simple answer, which was, "If you play Let It Die, you will understand I am so crazy." Which I think is a wonderful response.
Don't worry, he hasn't gone mainstream.
He hasn't gone mainstream yet, so I'm curious about this game now. Because initially the initial trailer just kind of made it look like a weird slasher game or something, so I wasn't very interested. But now knowing that it's going to be full of Suda51 craziness, I'm curious. I have to follow this and see if we get more of it this E3. What
upcoming games?
Yeah, what games are coming out? What games just came out?
Well, just came out. Let's see, DC Universe Online for the Xbox, because everybody cared about that.
Yeah.
And coming up on the 3rd, another game everybody cares about, Battleborn.
Is it Battleborn?
It's Battleborn.
His head is so tiny.
Yeah, the big muscular man.
Why
Battleborn has a super tiny head.
Freaking tiny.
Yeah, it's a birth defect.
It actually makes me angry.
Don't make that's discriminatory.
It's terrible character design. It's fucked up. I hate it.
Things that people do care about or should care about.
Super Hot on Xbox.
Yeah.
The Park. This just looks like a Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff.
It does. It's exactly what it looks like. The Park.
The Park.
Did you want to play a Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff? Get The Park.
And that's about it.
For PS4 Xbox.
I mean, I guess we'll talk about this next week too, but Uncharted comes out on May 10th.
Yeah.
That's like the next big thing. Uncharted 4, Thief's End. A new trailer released for that, actually. I haven't watched it yet. Like the launch trailer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I should check that out.
Oh, and
Doom's coming out that soon?
Yeah, I thought there was a little more of a wait.
Oh, May 13th.
We'll be talking about that next week.
Yeah.
But,
cool.
But yeah, in terms of this week, I mean, the big game is Battleborn. I guess that's... People are excited about it. It's a big deal.
People are excited about it?
Oh, yeah.
What people are excited about it?
People who like MOBAs.
Name me 3 people who are excited about Battleborn.
Listen, I'll do it off camera. I don't want to besmirch
them. You
don't
want to out anyone?
Yeah.
If you know anyone, listeners, who likes Battleborn, post their names to our Facebook so we can shame them publicly.
Yeah, because we want to publicly ridicule people who like that game. That's what being a fan of video games is all about.
I don't even know if the gameplay in it is decent at all. It could be like a great game, but
I mean, I've seen footage of it and it looks like very typical.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Well, we're just about out of time. We're coming in just about on time.
Yeah.
Tonight. Good for us.
Wow.
This is the first time in a while that we've done a good job with that. Good for us. So thank you all very much for listening. We have been Don't Copy That Floppy. with your hosts, Dan, that's me, and
Lex, that's me, that's who I am.
He's the one. That's the guy.
I am the
one. So please tune in next week, Fridays, 7 to 8 p.m. We are live. We're on Chipbit Radio, which broadcasts off chipbit.net.
But if you want to listen to past episodes, you can check out our show archive, which is on chipbit.net and also on iTunes.
Where you can leave a review.
Please leave a review on iTunes.
It would be lovely.
We have so few of them.
We're going to have a Patreon going up soon.
Oh, so soon.
So check that out.
Working on it.
And other than that, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Steam, and as you mentioned, iTunes.
Yeah.
And as always, remember, don't copy that floppy.